Well, first of all, gold is the primary currency metal. And when they do the overnight resets, this is what they reset it against. And though both gold and silver are used in every single aspect of the global economy, silver is more manufacturing and industrial. Gold is more monetary. So there is a difference. For me personally, I use silver for barterability because, this is an ounce of silver and it's just easy to buy with a tank of gas, etc. And also historically, yes, they have different functions. So that's what I like silver for, is my barterable part of my portfolio. Gold, on the other hand, is my wealth preservation. It's also for positioning to take advantage of the opportunities that it always present in a crisis. And it's also for legacy building, because for me, that's very important, having children and grandchildren and eventually great-grandchildren, etc. So there are absolutely different functions. And I think that and then there's different kinds of silver and there's different kinds of gold, even inside of those categories. It's not blanket. What I see happening is, obviously a rising gold price is an indication of a failing currency. And so using spot gold, which is never referred to as spot gold, it's just referred to as gold. It's not gold, it's a contract, right? Cheap, easy to manipulate. They can create as much gold and silver that do not nor ever will exist as they want to. And it's never about the physical. But what's been actually happening is there has been a decoupling between the spot market, which is, it's still a better performer than any other asset this year, pretty much. But the spot market versus the physical market, where we are seeing premiums expand on the lower, more base quality gold and certainly silver, and on the collectibles, which is what I personally buy. I don't buy bullion because they've been covertly confiscating it from you your whole life. Kind of hard to imagine at the very end they're going to go, you get to keep that well. Maybe they will. I can't say one way or the other, but I kind of like what if I'm right or what if I'm wrong, right? So I do the collectibles and I do the different levels, in other words, more scarce, and that goes into a different level for maybe growth. One with higher populations might be more about taking care of a mortgage, etc. So there are definitely different kinds, but all of it, you hold it, you own it, it runs no counterparty risk. And once you get it out of the system, it basically is invisible to central bankers or to anybody else. That's why that's one of the reasons why they don't like it. So we have a strategy that I actually developed when I was doing all my studies on currencies and currency life cycles. It's just based on repeatable patterns. It's simple because, look, I can't guarantee what's going to happen tomorrow. That's outside of my control. But I kind of feel like if something's happened the same way 100% of the time and you're doing the same thing, well, I don't think this time is different. I think you are more likely to get the same kind of result. And when all confidence in this Ponzi scheme is gone, they will do, I don't know how many overnight resets, but they will do overnight resets. And they will do it against this because this is all intrinsic value. The other thing that I want to point out that I actually have never heard anybody else talk about, but as we talked about earlier, don't necessarily have time to listen to everybody because I'm busy producing. But when you are going into any kind of battle, would you rather have one little instrument, or would you like a whole arsenal behind you? I bring that up because any of the fiat money products, the derivatives, the dollars, the stocks, the bonds, okay, basically, even though we've been taught that it's diversified, they're all dollar-based. It's not diversified. And it's used in one place, and that's the financial area. Whereas with both gold and silver, they are used in every single sector of the global economy. So they have the broadest base of buyer. Yeah, based on supply and demand, they're going to fluctuate, but they never go to zero because there's always demand.
Mm-hmm. There is always demand, and I think people inherently understand the value of gold and silver, and that's a good transition to talk about numismatics. I actually am a customer ITM. I want to point that out, and when I bought all the numismatics I bought, I turned in a bunch of bullion, gold bullion, traded it for some numismatics about 4 years ago. And a lot of people tell me don't get into numismatics, it's high premium, that type of stuff. And I said, no, I think there's value there. And I think numismatics, there are times when they even do better than regular gold. So
they are right now.
They are right now. And to that point, I just wrote an article where I had sold back to ITM some of my pre-1933s to fund a move I'm going to be making. So perfect timing. I mean, the gold had value. I needed it. It was perfect. I made a lot of money on the numismatics over 4 years. In fact, it's the best performing investment. It did better than my farmland. It's done better than my regular bullion. It did better than some of my rental properties that I used to have sold out. So it has been my best performing asset over 4 years. Why is that? Why are the numismatics doing better than the regular bullion? And do you think, Lynette, that will continue?
Number one, yes, I do think that will continue. And number two, you know, we knew that gold was in a long-term positive trend. So that's the right church. Now you got to get into the right pew. And again, it's hard for me to imagine after they've been confiscating my wealth since 1954 that they're going to suddenly stop at the end. Right. So when I'm making choices, you know, it's always, I want to look and see what are the big kahunas, what are the big players doing for themselves? So I like to look at the rarity index. And the rarity index, I mean, those coins in there, you know, you might have a coin, 1 ounce of gold for like $8 million or more, 15 million. Now, who can afford that? Only the 1%, right? And these are also the people that either write the rules or have the ability to influence those that write the rules, but they are more in the know typically of what is going on than the normal Joe on the street, right?
Yes, I agree with that.
Right. So if you look at the graphs on that, what you're going to see is a huge breakout in the really rarities. So that means that, what that means is that very, very wealthy people are buying in big, because it's really a huge breakout. On the lower level stuff, that's more what like you and I would buy. There has been a breakout. That breakout is growing, but it just recently started. So the smart money was already there. And so, yes, I do think it's going to continue because the big money, that's where they're going. And where else are you going to go? I mean, honestly.